Here we are on Monday. I haven't touched it all weekend, or since Thursday. Came out, set the choke, fired right off. I did buy a set of points for it, although I have no idea where I put them. So, and this battery is about to die anyway, but so there's a bunch of stuff I can do today. I did get a set of tires, or a pair of tires mounted. I can put those on the back. If I find the points, I can get those put in. I got some weather strip for the back. I can put that on. A few things. We're going to get started here. So I fired it up and the thing was loading up real bad like it was when the power valve was blown. So apparently that jet is just way too big. I had to put the 60 back in it. I did pick up this plastic. It was originally beige and it's been very crudely painted black. It's going to have to be stripped and redone, but at least this way I'm going to be using this column in the Cricket, so that hides all that and it doesn't look like I popped the ignition and stole it. So that's where we're at right now. Okay, putting a couple of tires on it here. I wanted to demonstrate the Toyota lug nuts. They don't seem special, but they are. These are like a mag nut. As you can see, they're very short shank. And they fit into these baby super wheels with the washers. And they fit very snug. So the aftermarket nuts are too small around and are too long. You'll never get them to work. But these nuts also have a taper so that they'll work on regular wheels as well without pulling through. For the spare tire, because the spare tire wouldn't be aluminum like the main tires would. So what I've got, these are the tires that were on it, or the tires that came with it anyway. I'm not sure which ones came on at factory. You can see those cracks.
Well, this car has been, wasn't it parked in 77 and then?
No, it was built in 77. It was parked in 05. Here, hold those.
And all the way till 2020?
Yep, okay.
So it's been parked for 15 years.
So the problem is when a tire is cracked like this, right here on this first rib on either side, what that is, that's the steel belt that goes underneath the tread. When it gets bad like that, when you see any cracking there, it's at risk of throwing this belt off. When it does that, it'll shred your fender, it'll tear things up, it could make you lose control of the car and crash. The cracks in the sidewall aren't anywhere near as risky. Those blow out and then your tire blows out. You know, I mean, obviously you could lose control if you're not paying attention. But it's these guys you got to watch out for. And if a tire is more than 5 years old, they're considered dangerous. Now,
well, I think this crack's actually really bad.
The crack's bad, but it's not as bad as those.
Because
now,
these are on the steel.
I'm going to make myself a hypocrite here. Let me go over here and show you. So 6 years is the absolute maximum, maybe 4 years for a Michelin, before tires get old and dry and could blow out. These tires are probably 15 years old. Old snow tires, they've been under the house, out of the sun. They're just barely starting to show the smallest of weather cracks. They're about half worn out, and you can see the studs are all completely worn flat. But they're good enough for this. We're just gonna,
the studs seem really bad. I mean...
Yep, we're just going to wear them out.
Wasn't it the rust that did that? Like the rust...
No. I like the steel wheels better because they're got a little bit of dish to them over the baby Supras, which are almost flush. So, yep, we're going to get these things put on. Okay, we got some timing marks down there. You can't see them. Now, what's interesting is I can run this. And like right now, if I set the advance wheel, you can't really tell, but the timing marks are effectively sitting on 0. and I'm at 36 degrees.
And that's bad,
So,
right?
well, so it's basically telling me that I'm 36 degrees retarded right now. If I tried to set it as is, it will not run. So I don't know what's going on with that. I'm sure it's got something to do with the igniter probably controlling timing.
And this car was built in like, when?
77.
It was built in 77, it was parked in 05, and it was parked until
Go clean that.
2020.
So I don't use the same rag you were using. Actually, I'm not sure what's going on. Kind of lost. I'm fairly confident that it's got something to do with that, with the igniter and how it controls spark, how it boosts spark. But it doesn't make a lot of sense to me in the realm of how most cars are. Like what's typical on most things is not typical on this. I mean, it doesn't run terrible. It doesn't run terrible right now, but it definitely doesn't run like it's supposed to. Although, all that being said, I don't see a problem driving this thing across the country the way it's running, or even driving it to work. So I'm going to put the points in it whenever I find them. I have no idea where I put them. And then that's going to be pretty much it. I'll put the points in, set the dwell, check the timing again, see if it doesn't run any differently. It's probably not going to run any differently. And then we're going to just leave it. For my own sanity, we're just going to leave it and accept it. And it'll probably start running better and better and better the more I drive it. Now, for the record, the Advance works. The vacuum tube, it works. It does not leak. It holds pressure or vacuum. The weights in the distributor work. You can turn the distributor against the spring and feel it move. You can rev it up and you can watch it advance when you rev it up with the vacuum advance plug. So the problem is right now I've got the timing retarded all that much, and if I hook up the vacuum advance, it starts running like crap.
Hey, Dad.
So yeah, we're just going to leave it until I put the points in it, set the dwell, check the timing, and see if it doesn't run any differently. If it doesn't, then I give up. We're just going to run it. You know, I might try to find another carburetor for it, but other than that, we're good. So, moving on, I've got this from Home Depot. It's just a weather stripping. It's pretty soft, I guess. So the goal is I'm going to need to get in here with a wire brush and a rag, clean up this channel instead of using the crimp on stuff, because there's hardly anywhere to crimp it on. I'm not going to go buy good stuff and glue it down.
Then you'll put the window
So
seal on.
I'm going to wire brush this, wipe it all down, use some chemicals on it, and stick that stuff down, and then that way I won't have to worry so much about having exhaust getting sucked into the back of the car. So that's it for that job. We're going to jump on to the next one. Okay, we're back after it. I didn't get hardly anything done yesterday. The points I bought, I think I actually left them at work, so it's not a huge high priority at the moment, but I do have a points file, so I'm going to go ahead and file them just for shits and giggles. I do have another project I'm working on today, somewhat frivolous, but at the same time it's very important. I'll show you here. That is an exhaust adapter. That is the Wagner part number 41890. So I'm going to cut it about here and about here, and then it will go here. It will be tack welded to that little bracket down there. That way it can be removed at some point. And that'll be my cup holder. There isn't really any room to put it over here, so that's where it's going to go. As few other little things I need to try to do. I need to try to find that other wiper arm, modify it, and make it fit. Try to get that weather stripping on the back. Just small things. I bought that plastic cover there from a guy. He may have a passenger seat, which if that's the case, I'll just throw it in there rather than try to make the other one fit for now. Even though I really should make the other one fit, that way I don't have to drag an extra seat out there. Anyway, I'm gonna get started. And there we are, it's all cut down. Now I'm gonna put it in there and I'm gonna weld it along the bottom edge. And you guys will be along for the ride. Okay, here we go. Helmet on. Now remember, kids, I'm not a welder. I can melt metal, but that's the extent of my talent. I'm not going to insult anybody by daring to call it welding. Because I don't know. I don't think you can qualify it as true welding. It's just melting metal, that's all it is. Catch my breath. So, the bracket itself isn't real super sturdy, but that's not going anywhere. Okay, I'm satisfied. Okay. Here, watch me melt my Mountain Dew here by putting it in there. There you go. I'll take bigger jugs than that. You can see here, nothing to be happy with. It's just a flux core welder, DC inverter flux core welder from Harbor Freight. Just whatever, you know. Okay, so as far as I'm concerned, that project's done. I'm not going to paint it or screw around with it. I can put a mirror on the outside of it. I do have a courier mirror I was going to put on the inside, but then I have to cut a hole in the header panel or the roof in order to mount it, and I'm not going to do that. Oh, there's something I did put in. You guys can see it. I've been holding on to this light fixture up here for probably 25 years. I can't even tell you what it came in. Something that I parted out, scrapped, took out of the tow yard after we're going to haul it to the junkyard. But this is like real turned wood all the way through. Oak, I think. I just thought the quality of it was high enough that I couldn't just throw it away. But I never really had anything to put it in until now. I haven't finished the wiring, they're just kind of tucked in there, but see, it gives me a dome light. Switches are a little dirty, so sometimes you have to push them more than once. But yeah, not a super necessary thing, but at the same time it kind of is. Cleaned up the channel here. As you can see, a little bit of brake clean took all that blue paint off down to the yellow, which again was not the original color. The original color was black. See? Anyway, so now we're going to put some weather strip on. This is actually an old bag I bought years and years and years ago. Hopefully it's still good. But we're going to use this one up first, and then we'll get on the other ones I bought. Be back in a moment. Okay, wiper arms. They were missing, and they're about 45 bucks on eBay for used one. I need two, or at least one, but two. These are off the courier. I've already started drilling it out. As you can see, it's way too small. So I got this worn out step bit I'm just going to drill it and drill it and drill it until the steps are roughly where they need to be, which is what I did on that one over there. So I'm going to get that done, and I've got some glass cleaner there. I started cleaning the windows too, but I'm going to get this done, and then we'll jump on the next job. Oh, look at this crap. The other gauge was absolutely rock steady, and I was able to tune it below. So I put this cheap gauge on it, and look at that. Now, a vacuum gauge is supposed to tell you of problems, not just tell you what the level is. So if this one's got some kind of a baffle in it, so that it doesn't do that, that's not good. That is not good at all. So I'm going to be returning that one and buying this cheap one. It smooths out. So the valves are a little tight, is what it is, I think. See how much snappier that is? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to shut this down, pull the valve cover back off, and adjust the valves. Okay. So I just showed you the vacuum gauge was vibrating. So I had an OTC vacuum gauge on there before that we were watching that was showing low. And it was pretty, I mean, it was rock steady. And then this vacuum gauge is buzzing all over the place, and it's buzzing between 20 and 14. So the average would be 16 and a half. So, well, after tuning, 16 and a half, and that's where I'm at right now with the old gauge. So apparently the OTC has a baffle in there, but I kind of want to see if there's an issue like that. I pulled the valve cover off, and every valve in there was tight as hell. I mean, they were at least 2000s too tight. So I got in there and I adjusted everything snug where it was supposed to be, and that the vacuum gauge is still buzzing, but now it idles smooth. It revs up smooth. It still has that huge flat spot, so I'm going to have to drive around that. That, I'm going to have to blame that on the carburetor, because this is the carburetor off of Christie's Bug. It had all kinds of issues. It barely ran at all. I went through it, I rebuilt it, I put it on the Comet, and it ran like this on the Comet. I had to jet it way up. I had to put that 90 progression jet in it just to make it run, and it ran like crap. It got crappy mileage, it flooded, it just whatever. So I put a different Weber on it and it ran fine. The one that was on this car was pretty bad as well. What I'm going to do with that one though is I'm going to soak it. I'm going to dip it into the solution, just leave it there for like a week or two. That stuff I've got, it was returned by a customer because it just didn't work. And it doesn't. It doesn't dissolve gaskets. It doesn't dissolve gum and varnish. The only thing it does do is it'll dissolve paint, but it will actually dissolve the oxidation, the bloom, the corrosion and stuff. It'll actually clean all that stuff off, and that carburetor is full of it. And that's probably what the problem with it was. So we're going to give it one last chance before I just have to find something completely different. I was kind of hoping that truck I pulled the igniter and such off of had a Weber on it, but it didn't, and I didn't have time to pull it anyway. I did go ahead and swap the coil and the igniter. It started right up, ran fine. The timing marks are actually right where they're supposed to, so apparently the coil that was in this car was junked. So the coil, the tight valves, all this stuff conspired against it. It's actually running pretty damn good, all things considered. So we're going to go drive it here. We're going to get all this crap off the roof. All this caca. This is a kind of a bad habit. You know, you scratch up the roof, you dent up the roof. I don't care about this car. It's going to get chopped up. This roof panel, I might save it for sheet metal to patch those spots in the floor. Other than that, the roof is going in a dumpster. So I don't care. But if you do care, don't do what I'm doing. Especially with that friggin' seat. Anyway. So yeah, I'm going to clean this thing off. Clean it out. I might take Jinx for a ride with me. Jinx! Yeah. He's lonely. He really wants to hang out. I had him in there with me when I started it up, and he kind of freaked him. But after a couple minutes of it idling and revving up, he calmed down and just snuggled in with me. Anyway. So yeah, that's where we're at for now. If everything goes well and I get back, I'm going to pack up my stuff I need for tomorrow, and then I'll call it a night. And tomorrow we'll drive it. I think we're going to be okay. Oh, I gotta tighten up the belt. I'm gonna do that right now. All right, see you in a bit.